What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to take a look at some new black Digimon, including some weird monkey thing which I am told is actually fairly popular in terms of Digimon lore as a whole. In fact, we've got a couple of new black level 6s here, and I'm going to be perfectly honest with you here, there is some good stuff going on. So let's have a chat about Atomon. Now, Atomon here comes in as a level 5 Digimon. We've got a 7 cost to play normally, which is not particularly cheap, but it's not particularly bad. It's there or thereabouts. And we've got a 3 cost to evolve, which is what we see from the vast majority of level 5 Digimon. 6,000 power. It's kind of low for a level 5, if I'm honest with you. We did have a level 5 that only had 6,000 power in Ultimate Power. It was Infirmon, and it was clearly there for a different reason. So we're expecting a decent skill here, given that we've got a slightly weaker Digimon. Well, the good news is we've got a decent skill here. We've got Blocker. Now, Blocker is good, quite frankly. We like Blocker. Blocker means that you can essentially rest the Digimon and then redirect an attack towards it, which is why it's got 6,000 power. And I mean, 6,000 power is low, there's no getting around it, but it's another blocker. And having blockers is good. Blockers mean you might be giving up the Digimon, but at least your opponent isn't going to go ahead and take out the last security. Or if they've already taken out the last security, they're not just going to literally go and win the game. And Black have been pretty liberal with their blockers so far. We saw a bunch of them back in Ultimate Power, more than we would have expected. You know, you had your level 3 Gotsumon that came in with blocker, your level 4 Gardramon that came in with blocker, your level 5 Andromon that came in with blocker, and one of the cards I talk about a lot because I love it, the level 6 War Greymon that came in with blocker, but also Reboot, which makes a really big deal, of course, because you can then block on their turn, get ready. Attack on your turn, get active. And you can essentially just keep going and having essentially blocking and all of that and attacking and switching between them every turn. It's rather lovely, frankly, ladies and gentlemen. It's rather lovely. So blocker is good. What else do we have here? When destroyed, you reveal the top 5 cards of your deck, and you may play a level 6 whose name contains Atomon from amongst them without paying its cost. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is where this card goes from ooh to ooh. Because this is phenomenal. Yes, it's a moderately weak Digimon, and yes, when you block with a 6,000 power, the reality is you're often going to be giving up that Digimon is often going to be going. But if you've got a level 6 whose name contains Atomon in the top 5 cards of your deck, and obviously we need more cards to kind of rearrange top of your deck, etc. If we get them, this card becomes way better. But if you do, then you've blocked, and then you've played a level 6, so you've basically, I mean, you can look at it as playing a level 6 for 7 cost, and having a blocker for free. Or playing a blocker for 7 cost and having a level 6 for free. It's kind of the same thing. The point I'm making here is that this is kind of over the top, ridiculously, awesomely, brilliantly amazing if you've got a level 6 whose name contains Atomon in the top 5 cards of your deck. If you don't have that, this is not such a good card. Now, don't get me wrong, you're still a blocker. You are still going to get some benefit of having this Digimon. It's not like, oh, well, you didn't hit a level 6 Atomon, boo, hiss, etc., and that now you've wasted that card. You still get the blocker. You still get to stop your opponent having an attack and save the day, etc. But then again, if we're paying 7 cost to play a card normally, we could have Andromon, who's got an extra 1,000 power and also has blocker. Although, if you're playing any Atomon here, any level 6 Atomon, you would never play Andromon over Atomon here. You would just never do it. That would make no sense. You give up 1,000 power for the chance of playing a level 6 for free. In terms of deck building and decision making, that is one of the easiest decisions I think we would have to make here. I would not be spending much time obsessing over that decision. So I love this card, but I am going to love it a lot more in the future if we get ways to essentially manipulate the top card of our deck. But that's not the only Atomon we've got. We've also got Metallatimon, and I can't remember if I said it earlier, but shout out to the lovely folks over at Chosagoi for providing the translation. And what we've got here is a level 6 Digimon, 12 cost to play normally, which is kind of expensive, I'll be honest with you. Although again, if you're playing it using Atomon, it's free. Free cost to evolve, which is standard, honestly, for a level 6. That's what we expect level 6s to cost to evolve into, so that's alright. And 10,000 power is low. 12 cost to play normally is higher than the average, except for level 6 black. Level 6 black do tend to all be around about 12, except High Andromon, but that doesn't count because it's a vanilla. So level 6s, I suppose, for black do tend to be a bit more expensive, but 10,000 power is low. It actually makes it the weakest black level 6 we've actually seen so far. So again, we've got a Digimon that is not particularly cheap, and is not particularly powerful, so we're gonna need something here. We're gonna need a reason to play it. But the good news is we do have a skill. What skill do we have? On your turn, this Digimon cannot be blocked, and on your opponent's turn, this Digimon gains 2,000 power. Oh yeah, that's nuts. That's ridiculous. That's amazing. We love this. As an attacker, it's fantastic. Because first of all, you're not being blocked. Now, part of the problem with having 10,000 power is you're slightly weaker and you can't always predict what's going to happen. Your opponent might end up blocking you. They might block you with something like the 11,000 power War Greymon. You go down, and then that's a sad thing. But here, if you cannot be blocked, if you're essentially immune from being blocked, then you get to just kind of chill, frankly. And you get to sit there safe in the knowledge that you're going to survive, unless you attack the security stack, in which case, yes, there is a chance you're going to go down. But then you're resting, and again, being resting is a little bit sad, because resting Digimon can be attacked and taken out by your opponent's Digimon. But have no fear, because now you've got 12,000 power. And the average level 6 has 11. I know there's some higher and some lower, etc. But your average is about 11,000 power. So actually, yeah, fine. You might be a bit expensive and you might be a little bit weak. But there's a decent chance you'll literally be playing this for free. And you can't be blocked. And on your opponent's turn, you're actually more powerful than average. And then we add this all up. And even though the stats on the face of it don't look particularly good, and I'm sorry, but they don't, when you add it all up at the end, it starts looking so much better. Quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, count me in. But that's not the only new level 6 Digimon we need to talk about today. We've also got Garurumon. Now, I know it is the Digimon Online, which sounds a little bit weird given the first couple of sets, but do remember we do have the Black Garurumon in this particular set that we've already seen. So even though seeing the Digimon Online in black is weird, given that it wasn't in the first couple of sets, it does actually make a bit of sense, because apparently we're getting a black Digimon Online. Cool. What do we got in terms of stats here? Well, we've got an 11 cost to play normally, which is about right. An 11,000 power Digimon, which is about right. A 4 cost to evolve, which is higher than usual. We did have 4 cost to evolve on the non-vanilla level 6s back in the starter deck. Since then, we have seen some level 6s that cost more than 3 to evolve, but they're kind of few and far between. We usually see 3 now, so it's a bit more expensive, though it can evolve from either red or black, so you do have that extra option there of a little bit more consistency and just being able to pop it into a greater amount of decks, which is nice. We like this. But what skills does it have? Well, according to the lovely folks over at Chosagoi, Crescarumon here has Reboot, and we talked about Reboot earlier. Reboot means that you are made active on your opponent's active phase as well as your own active phase. Now, I mentioned this with Wargreymon and said that the combo with Blocker is redonk, because, of course, you can attack on your turn, then get made active, and then you can block on your opponent's turn and then get made active, etc., etc. But there's also a phenomenal combo here just in terms of resting Digimon can be attacked and active Digimon can't. There are some exceptions, but as a general rule, that stays. So essentially here, what happens is that you attack on your turn, your opponent goes, yay, now I can attack you because you're resting, but because you've got Reboot, you get made active on your opponent's active phase, and actually no, they cannot attack you even though you're resting. And this is a lovely, lovely thing. So Reboot's kind of awesome, but there's nothing special about this yet. I mean, at this stage, we might as well be playing Wargreymon, who's got the same power, and cost-wise, it's one more normally, but one less to evolve, and it's got Blocker and Reboot. Come on, Crescarumon, give us a reason to play ya. When you Digivolve, for each Digimon your opponent has revealed the top card of your deck, you may play a level 5 or below black or red Digimon without paying its cost, and then put the rest of the bottom of your deck in any order. Remember my usual warning here, because we don't have ways to shuffle our deck or draw from the bottom of the deck, cards that go on the bottom of your deck, there is a good chance will basically remain there until essentially the game is over, because if you run out of deck you lose, so you're probably not getting them back. But that's a downside. Let's focus on the upside, and the upside here is huge. The upside is phenomenal. The upside is that you actually get to play a level 5 or below Digimon, either black or red. So again, more options, more things you can do here without paying the cost. Now, here's the thing. We've seen some Digimon in the past with skills like this, like Piedmon, for instance. And Piedmon specifically says Digimon played by this effect, because when you play it, you can play up to 2 level 4 or less purple Digimon from the trash without paying the cost. But Digimon played by this effect do not activate their when played effects. That is specifically written on the card. And what that tells us is that when you are playing Digimon using skills, you do get their when played effects, unless you are specifically told you don't. And we are not specifically told you don't. So you totally do. Any level 3, 4 or 5 red or black Digimon played for free, and you get your play skills at the same time. This is kind of redonkulous, ladies and gentlemen. I am a huge, huge fan of this. Now, it must be borne in mind this is a Digivolve skill, i.e. you only get the skill when you pay the 4 cost to evolve. You don't get the skill when you pay the 11 cost to play normally. And it is dependent on your opponent's board. If they've only got 1 Digimon, you need to hope the top card of your deck is a level 5 or below red or black Digimon. Having said that, if you're playing a red or black deck, then maybe you hit the odd level 7 or 6 or optional tamer card. But, I mean, have a look at the deck list doing the rounds. If you're playing a black and or red deck, the vast majority of your deck is level 5 or below red or black Digimon. So the reality is, if your opponent has very few Digimon in play, the only thing this is really going to do is lower your options. It will give you fewer options, but you'll still get to play a Digimon. You'll still get the bonus of doing so, and that is awesome. Maybe it's the Birdramon from New Evolution, that when you play it, one of your Digimon gets security attack +1 until the end of your turn. That could be fun. Maybe it's a Skull Greymon from New Evolution, that when you play it, you get to destroy one of your opponent's Digimon with Blocker. So you get to play an extra Digimon and you take out one of theirs. And the thing to remember is that this is not just a skill that exists now. This is a skill that is still going to be there in future sets when more Digimon get revealed and released. So there's going to be more targets for this as time goes by. As time goes by, more Digimon will be revealed, more Digimon will be released, and then actually there's going to be more things that you can do. And more play skills that you can take advantage of. And this is a skill that is very literally just going to get better and better and better. And I, for one, ladies and gentlemen, am pretty gosh darn delighted about it. These are good black Digimon. These are ones that are very much worth getting excited about because we've got Digimon that play cards for free and they still have other advantages like blocker or not being able to be blocked or reboot, etc. So not only are you playing cards for free, which in and of itself is great, you're also getting extra things as well. This is kind of dumb good, and I'm all into it. But I'd like to know if you're into it. I'd like to know how you feel about all this. I'd like to know what you think about these new Digimon cards. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy. That's where we talk Digimon and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wassy Plays.